While a lot of us may have Batman on the brain right now because of the new movie, as a society, we typically think pretty negatively about bats, or we don't think about them at all. I can honestly say I never gave them much thought before seeing them in the wild. One day they migrated to a local park in Australia, and I was fascinated the second I heard them screeching to each other. I would sit at that park bench for hours just watching them fly back and forth. I had to know more about them, so I started reading up and learning about bats. And what I learned was pretty concerning. Bats are in danger of decline. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has estimated that more than 5 million bats have died since 2006 from white nose syndrome. That number does not include bats that have died from climate change, habitat destruction, hunting, or wind energy accidents. So you may be thinking to yourself, okay, that number is pretty considerable, but why does that matter? Why do I care? Well, bats are so important for our environment and they do so much work in the background. One of their huge features to our environment is they supply natural pest control. The National Park Service has estimated that bats have contributed $3.7 billion worth of pest control to the United States every single year. They're flying above, eating our mosquitoes and different bugs that would otherwise be eating crops. Since they are taking care of those pests, farmers save money because they need to spend less on pesticides, which is also better for the environment. And as the consumer, we save because there is more supply of fruit and vegetables at our local market. The Nature Conservancy website posted an article of July 2020 stating that bats can eat up to 1,200 mosquitoes an hour and can eat up to their body weight every single night. That is a lot of bugs that are being taken care of by our bats. They also are very valuable pollinators. They pollinate a lot of the vegetables and fruits into the tropics. One of kind of cool fact about bats is they are the sole pollinator of the agave plant. So, if you are 21 and over and you have ever enjoyed tequila, you can thank a bat for that. You can also thank them for avocados, bananas, peaches, and timber products because they are very valuable in pollinating all of those things as well. So, now that I've convinced you that bats are a good thing for our environment, I'm going to go back and tell you about white nose syndrome that I mentioned in the beginning that's killing off a lot of our population. White nose syndrome is a fungal disease that is very contagious. It gets into a bat cave and it affects a huge majority of the population. It starts to grow the fungus on their nose, their mouths, their ears, and their wings. Once the fungus is on them, it starts to wake them up from their hibernation. Once they're awake, they will go intermittently between awake and asleep, which is using their fat stores that they've kept for the winter. A lot of bats that get white nose syndrome will die before spring comes around from starvation. It is very huge in our society. There was a study by the North American Bat Monitoring Program that utilized hundreds of scientists over a 10-year period. They were studying 3 species of bats, and they found that in those 10 years, white nose syndrome wiped out 90% of those 3 bat species. So it is a huge risk here in the United States. And it is found in 35 of the 50 United States, according to the Bat Conservation International. And that does include New Mexico. The Bureau of Land Management found it on the bats in Roswell in May of 2021, which is concerning because those are the bats that are close to Carlsbad Caverns. And since it is so contagious, we don't want it to hit one of our biggest colonies that we have. So you might be wondering, what does this look like? So I have a picture here for you. This is a normal bat. Pretty cute little brown bat here, very common in America. And this is a bat with white nose syndrome. It kind of looks like he got in a powdered donut bag. He has white all over his little nose, his arms, His ears, you can see he just has white all over him. That is a bad sign for that little guy. So, you may also be wondering, why else are they in danger? There is habitat destruction. They're being killed because people are scared of them. They think they carry the coronavirus, and people are scared of vampires, so they kill vampire bats. While it's heartbreaking to hear about all of the dangers bats face, especially after learning how valuable they are to us and our environment, there is hope. There are lots of research companies that are learning more about bats and learning how to get rid of the white nose syndrome. So hopefully that'll really help. The general public is becoming more knowledgeable. The more knowledgeable the general public is, the better. If people care about bats, they're going to do things to help bats. So that is what we want. We want to help bats. Just picture it. We can have a world where we are in sync. We have more healthy environments with plenty of fruit and vegetables, less insects, and less pesticides and diseases because nature's looking out for us with bats. Every action matters, big or small. You can do your part, even if it's just telling your friends about bats. So, you can donate to a local bat conservation, educate other people, follow a bat on TikTok. There's plenty of them and they're so cute. Build a bat box, grow a garden, anything that you like. You can help bats no matter how small or big. Just education is important to save these important creatures that are pollinating and pest control. Thank you.